Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, welcome back to Combat Sports UK. I'm Patrick McCoy, and today I'm joined by royalty in the former Cage Warriors welterweight champion, now UFC debutant, Rhys McKee. How you feeling, man?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
No worries, man. The debuts were a few weeks out. UFC Paris. Talk to me. Why was Paris the right place for this debut?
I think Paris was the right place just because how everything lined up. Come out of the UFC. Obviously after the first stint, I had my three wins, three dominant finishes, and it just lined up with a European card, which was in Paris. And that's it. Whether it was Paris or anywhere else in the world, like it just aligned for the perfect time to be on September 2nd.
And when it comes to the UFC debut, not many fighters get a second chance at a UFC debut. Now you get a second chance in your first debut. It came in front of no crowd. Now you get a crowd. Are you excited to kind of relive the debut that you dream of in front of a sold out crowd?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people said, is this the second debut or how am I looking at it? I look at this as the real debut. I've never experienced the real UFC, the crowd, the atmosphere. Um, so I'm relishing in that. That's going to be very exciting. Something that I think about a lot. So this is the real debut. This is no the comeback. This is just, we're here now.
And talk to me about how cool it is that you get to share the card with a fellow Irishman and a former Cage Warriors champion in Caelan Loughran.
Yeah, the Don, he's done good work in Cage Warriors. He said what he wants, the Irish are known to say what they want and they tend to get it as well. So here we are, two Irish debutants on an amazing card, and we're going to steal the show for sure.
And there's a lot of Cage Warriors talent coming in. I don't know if you saw Morgan Charrier was signed to the card, but one name that I think everyone's missing, kind of like what's going on, is Paul Hughes. What's going on there? Do you know anything about why Paul Hughes hasn't been called up yet?
Yeah, like Paul's a teammate of mine. Like I see him multiple times a week, so I get his frustration. He's UFC level and more, so I don't know. I wish anybody knew. The only people I guess who do know is the UFC brass and maybe the management. But it's only a matter of time for Paul, and when he gets there, he's going to get that belt.
And let's get back to you, man. The matchup, Angelusa. How do you feel about the matchup? Where do you see your advantages lying?
Yeah, I like the matchup. He's somewhere he's had the same experience in the UFC as me. He's durable. He's tough. He's a striker. He's good on the ground. He's explosive. He's everything I want in an opponent. I see technically me being maybe a bit better. I just see me finding ways to win better, and I know I'm durable as well. So let's see how it all plans out. But I'm doing anything and everything I can to leave with that win.
When it comes to the training camp, you mentioned you're doing everything. How has this training camp been, and who have your main training partners been, and who have you had to maybe kind of replicate Angelusa in the gym?
Yeah, we're lucky. At Fight Academy Ireland, we have a lot of welterweight and middleweights. So I have that body type of that 5'10", stocky, explosive guys. Guys that are fighting 2-3 weeks after, so they're heavy in camp as well. So I have a lot of good bodies. They're getting a lot of good work in. And like, yeah, we're just ready. It's every training camp is hard. Every training camp is, in the trenches. It seems harder before it gets easier, but it's all going to be worth it come September 2nd when the shackles are unleashed and we're allowed to inflict pain on someone.
And when it comes to watching film, are you someone who puts a lot of stock in that? I know Caelan Loughran, he's an MMA nerd. He watches fights all the time. So I wonder, are you someone who is a nerd and watches a lot of film on your opponent?
Oh, for sure. Like we've watched, a few hours so far, and we're going to be watching and watching and watching. Any chance I get, we'll be watching tape. And it's we're looking for reads. I don't base my whole life on what he will do. It's more on what I will do. I'm going to come out in the front foot here, and I'm going to act first. This is a Rhys McKee fight, and I'm coming out there to put the pressure on early.
And when it comes to Irish MMA, yourself and Keelan being on this card, but there's a lot of talent coming up. Paddy McCarry, funny enough, shares the same name as myself, and a lot of other fighters coming up. How does it feel to be kind of one of the poster boys, the main guys on that pedestal?
Yeah, it's an honor. Like I'm kind of like a lot of people. in Ireland they'll call me like the young vet, because I've been about forever, but I'm still young. I'm only 27. So if it looks like I'm leaving that risk, then it's fantastic. But the guys that are there are absolute animals as well. We're like we genuinely should have a Dublin card next year, and you could do 14 Irish fighters on that alone. So it's just the level's just ridiculous.
I know that's why I want to touch on a 14 person, as you said, 14 fighter Dublin card. Like, how close are we? Do you think if yourself and Keelan win, maybe Paul Hughes gets signed, and Ian Gary, he's on a trailblazing streak right now. He fights next week. But how close do you think the UFC is to finally making their return to Dublin?
I don't think the signings of me, signings of Keelan, Ian's doing unbelievable. Connor's in the wings, wondering what he's going to do. Like, I don't think they're taking these steps behind Irish for no reason. So I think there's an Irish fight night on the way, and we get Paul and a few more names. Sean is there now. The card's there, and the UFC is the type of organisation, if they sign Irish fighters, they want to exploit it by going to that area and getting the most benefit out of it, of course.
And when it comes to your goals for the year, you fought multiple times this year, and this is another fight in the UFC. Would you like to fight again this year in the UFC? Were you to win and take no damage?
Yeah, cool. Like, well, let's see. We have a baby on the way in November, so that's going to be a heavy focus as well. But early New Year is probably going to be my goal. But the first goal in my mind is coming out of Paris. Putting on a dominant performance, to have the showcase of the performance, and everything after that will take care of itself.
And when it comes to nutrition, we're about what 3 weeks out from the event. How has your diet been on this camp? Do you have anyone that's kind of tailor made making your diet for you?
Yeah, I worked with a fellow called Yannick McGee, and Yannick's, we've worked together for the last four fights. And so we're getting to that stage now where the weight's coming down and body's peaking, and maybe slightly a wee bit away from that, but everything's perfect, nutrition's good, and 170 is getting funner and funner every time.
And when it comes to Paris as well, the food, I must say, like just in France, I was just in France last week. I just got back yesterday. The food is unreal. I think I put on 10 kilos just eating French fries. But what are you looking forward to eating post fight?
Yeah, well, it's funny, we were in Paris in April celebrating my last fight. I enjoy the pastries, I enjoy the hot chocolates, I enjoy stuff like that. So I'm a bit of a carb head, so the pastries has my heart.
Like the pain chocolat and the croissants and everything.
That's exactly what we're saying.
I
That's
shouldn't
what we
I shouldn't be talking about that with you. Your weight cutting. But can I ask, what's your weight at right now? A couple weeks out.
Oh, that's a secret. You never ask if I did a real thing. No, we're like, what, we're in good position. The way I say it is, I can make weight in 10 days if need be.
And how soon do you like to get to the venue? Get to the location, Paris. There's not a big time difference between Paris and Ireland, just about an hour. Um, how soon will you be in Paris for fight week?
We're in Paris on the Tuesday, so we're going Tuesday a fight week, which is nice, And as you said, Paris only has that 1 hour time difference, so there's no major adjustments to do. So we'll get there, we'll train all week, cut the weight, relax, have fun, and then go in and do what we're going to do.
Great, man. And next year, you mentioned wanting to get back around New Year's time. What are your kind of goals for next year, for your UFC career?
Yeah, I won two fights, this one and then one in the early new year, and then start getting into that top 15 and start taking names. I want to get, to the number one spot in the world, and this is exactly what I can do. I know my level, I know my worth, and I know I'm an absolute nightmare for any of these fighters. So, it's time to just show the world what I already know.
And a fighter that you've had a little bit of back and forth with, and who has kind of agreed to fighting you, is former Ultimate Fighter winner Brian Battle. Would that fight be still be something that you're trying to push for?
Yeah, why not? It's like, again, it's like when my manager rang me and told me about this fight, it was, you're fighting this date, and then we talked to phone. Like, it's the UFC, so who we fight, we don't really choose. But as long as Ryan's winning, and he's in the position where I want to get to, then I'll fight him. But I want two fights outside the top 15, and then start breaking in there.
And were you disappointed when you weren't signed for the UFC 292 UFC Boston card that is next week? You know, with the Irish culture being so strong out there in Boston, and there was a lot of talk about yourself, Paul, and Keelan all being signed for that. Were you kind of disappointed that it didn't happen?
Like, okay, I mean, not really. No, as long as I'm signed, I don't really care where I fought. I don't care if I fought in Hong Kong or um, Dubai or wherever the place may be. Like, so Paris is fine for me. Obviously the Boston card would be nice, but we have all this in front of us. This is going to be a long career in the UFC now, and I'm in the right place now, so I'm going to fight all over the world in all these amazing places. So it's going to be exciting.
I'm curious to see what do you think of like the way Ian Gary has gone about his UFC career. He's talked about kind of a six fight plan through the top 15. I find it very interesting. I don't know if you saw, but he's now fighting Neil Magny. He's no longer fighting Jeff Neal. What do you think of his UFC career so far? And then what his kind of mindset is about taking on the top 15 and not rushing to the title necessarily?
Unbelievable. Like, what Ian Gary's done is unbelievable. At the time, like, when he got started in the UFC, he got nice fights, and then he took on the next test, and then there's the next test, and he just keeps passing all these tests. So like now it's Neil Magny, like I think he flies through Neil Magny, and then the world's at Ian's feet, and I think anybody from Ireland can take a leaf out of his book. I think he's a good head on his shoulders. He's confident. He says what he wants. Ian's a good guy. He's someone that like we've obviously been around each other at trade wars and stuff, and I look forward to catching up with him again.
And on that Boston card, headlined by two massive title fights, I wonder what your predictions are for Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley.
Oh, I know that's a fun fight. It's a fun fight. I have a feeling that Sterling will find a way to get it done, but I would love to see Sean O'Malley just because it'd be so much chaos if he gets the belt. And I think his style is so nice to watch. So I think I'm going to lean towards O'Malley, but wouldn't be surprised if Sterling. Well done.
And when it comes to Zhang Wei Li versus Amanda Lemos, how do you see that fight playing out?
You know what? My knowledge on the female MMA scene ain't great. Like, I, yeah, I'm not too sure to be honest. And I know that sounds a bit cheeky.
Understandable. Let's get back to your weight class. The fight that happened last night. I don't know if you were able to sit up and watch Vicente Luque versus Rafael dos Anjos. I wonder if you have watched that fight. What did you think of it?
I haven't watched it yet, but I know Vicente Luque got the win, and I believe it was kind of a wrestling performance.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to watch. Like he obviously was coming off a hard loss, and it's nice to see them fights when they come back. What approach they're going to come with, and RDA is no easy task in that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it today.
And the title picture in your division is quite open, right? You know, Leon Edwards being the champion, and then you have Colby Covington seemingly getting the next title shot. But there's a lot of guys like Bilal Muhammad who's calling for the shots. Who do you think maybe should get the shot, and who do you think will get the shot?
Yeah, well, I think Kobe Covington is going to get the shot. Um, it's hard. It's like there's part of me wanted to see Hamza fight for it too. Who was that? There was another obvious contender that should have. Oh, there was another obvious contender that a lot of people thought would have fought for Gilbert Burns.
It'd
I don't
be
know who it was, but yeah, but I think it's going to be Kobe anyway. But to be honest, I don't see anybody touching Leon for a while. Like Leon Edwards has done all the right things as well, and took his time, got where he needed to get to, and yeah, I think Leon Edwards is going to be one of them champions that retires on top.
And so let's get away from the MMA side for a moment. I don't know, with the Premier League starting, I'm very excited. I don't know, are you a big football fan?
Well, I used to play football, but I'm not a massive football fan. If anybody I support, Man United would be my team. But I don't have a great understanding of it anymore. It's all changed so much.
I was gonna ask you about just who you think wins the league and everything, but maybe you're not fully aware of everything going on then.
So, from my understanding, it's always going to be a Man City kind of are going to be the favourites. So, you know, who knows? I will be trying to dip in and watch a bit more.
And a tweet that kind of popped up, I don't know, someone sent me a screenshot of it, but it was you talking about showing your tattoos to your grandmother and you being very close to your grandmother. I wonder, is she aware you're getting tattoos now?
Yeah, well, yeah, she was aware of them. Yeah, she's aware now. But it was something I always kept in secret for a little while. Just because it's like an old school mentality, and like in our family it was like tattoos were forbidden, and then the more and more I got, I had to wear like longer sleeve hoodies and longer sleeve t-shirts. But yeah, she knows about them now. But I think it was just a passing of the guard of generations where no, you're fine.
What does she think of your fighting career thus far?
Yeah, I think it's different. I come from, well, like that kind of the older generation of my family, the very much older generation, and old school fashion, um, and it's a very different career. But I think now everybody's seen the success I've had so far, and I'm continuing to have. They're very much behind it, and they just accept that it's a wee bit different.
And I was curious. A lot of fighters now seemingly they're not getting the direct call up like yourself and Keelan got. They kind of get the contender series route. I wonder what you thought of maybe potentially with having to go on the contender series.
Yeah, like I am a fighter's fighter, so I find it hard to turn down opportunities like that. But I always do. Like I found like going back to Cage Warriors and having them fights and fighting for a world title and defending it, like that was my contender series. And like yeah, I just knew I knew I was worth of a straight contract, and patience won, and we had opportunities to do other things, and but I just knew, like, I knew I needed to be in the UFC, and my only goal in this whole fighting thing was I want to like go to the top of the world. And regardless of what promotion you're in, if you ain't saying UFC when somebody asks, then people don't think you're in number one in the world.
And I wonder what do you think of a fellow Cage Warriors guy? Cage Warriors is just exploding right now, but George Hardwick fighting on the contender series on Tuesday. What do you think of his fight and what he's done recently?
Yeah, another guy that's done fantastic work, George, and it's like he's just probably at a different stage in his career where the way he sees it probably is, he's going to have to maybe take one more Cage Warriors fight anyway, so why not do contender? And I don't disagree with that. I think it was different for me because I was already in. He's a tough fight in his hands from what I hear, but George is one of these guys, and I think I'm one of these guys too. It's hard to beat someone that's good at finding a way to win. If plan A doesn't work, you use plan B. If it doesn't work, you use plan C. And if that doesn't work, you go back to plan. What I mean? It's all these routes to victory, and it's very hard to second someone like that. It's a good trait to have.
And what is it about Cage Warriors? I was at the London event, but what is it about Cage Warriors that kind of separates them from regional events per se, or from a Bellator? I think Cage Warriors sometimes has higher level fighters than Bellator or the PFL in some regard.
Because Cage Warriors, everybody's there to get to the UFC. Everybody's there, for that golden ticket. They know the how prestige that promotion is. They know the opportunities. They're not looking at a short game, short fix. They're very much playing the long game. So you have a lot of very, very, very good fighters competing to be the number one in Europe. And Cage Warriors is an absolute hotbed of European talent.
And last one, what's your prediction for your UFC Paris belt?
Yeah, just domination, like just domination. And I said before, this is very durable, very tough to get out of there. Anytime I win, if I finish, he's never been finished. So I'm going to go again and say if I fight the way I know I fight, then it's a finish, and that's what I believe it'll be.
That's amazing, man. And before I let you go, if you want to shout out any sponsors, merchandise, social media, anything, here's your platform.
Yeah, probably just handiest to stay up to date on my social media, Rhys McKee MMA across all platforms, and you'll see what's going on there.
Great, man. Well, thank you so much for taking your time and taking the time out of your day to do this interview, and good luck in Paris.
Right, well, thank you.